Donald Trump didn't help by making Modi look weak. If Modi had been able to sell, at least internally, this idea that India had won, maybe then he could have this narrative that I've forced Pakistan to the table, and I'll get what I want out of it. But somebody like him doesn't want to appear weak.
How do you view Pakistan's use of Chinese J10 jets to counter India's French Rafale jets and Russian S-400 missile system? We actually shocked them.
Well, yes, but here's the issue. It's fine. I'm glad that Pakistan was able to defend itself, and that Chinese jets have shown that they can be effective. But don't be too quick to celebrate. Remember, the most dangerous times in our history has been when countries have developed, military edges that allow them to overwhelm the other side. One of two things can happen. The side with the edge can decide that they want to use it, or you have the other side who say, well, we have to act before they use it. So these are dangerous times. The fact that China has been able to put together an effective military so far, as far as we have seen, threatens the United States, which spends roughly 5 times more. And this is not something as I said, you want to celebrate. You want to be very, very, very careful about this. As India, it has a large army, it has a large population. It's asymmetrical in some terms. In terms of any kind of ongoing situation with Pakistan. Pakistan's economy is not as strong as India's at the moment, and there is internal unrest. So at this point, it behooves everybody to figure out how to sit down at the table and work this out. There have been a lot of claims that this could have been some sort of false flag operation by either side for political reasons. But right now, the most important thing is to make sure that this does not continue. Already the water issue, the Indus water issue is in play. India did so by saying that it was going to renege on the treaty. If that happens, I'm afraid that there will be a very serious conflict, because no one can live without water, and this would go directly to the security and development of Pakistan.
All right. So what's your opinion on the meeting between Pakistan, China and Afghan foreign ministers, and how do you see the possible extension of CPAC into Afghanistan?
Well, Afghanistan has to be brought into some sort of normalization. They, when you have 30 to 40,000, quote, freedom fighters or terrorists, however you want to put them, are able to rout a standing army, a native standing army of 350,000 plus their U.S. Cohorts, it shows that this country has spoken one way or the other. People are resigned to having that government. It shows quite clearly that interference in the affairs of other countries, no matter how small, is now become almost impossible. You can't win it. The will of the people will continue until they grind down any power that thinks it can do it. And I mean, you have to look no further than what the Houthis are doing in the Red Sea. They have effectively neutralized the most powerful navy on earth. And this is a country that is extremely small. They don't have lots of weapons or technology, but they have been successfully able to get Donald Trump to say, we're out of there. I mean, we can't afford to spend $1 billion every time an aircraft goes there and unloads all its very expensive weapons. And the Houthis are spending maybe $5 to $10 million on much less expensive missiles and drones. So at this point, everything points to the fact that we need to get away from any kind of kinetic action. It won't help anything. And in the end, it always comes down to diplomacy. But diplomacy takes two. And the question is India ready to sit at the table, or they want to lick their wounds and convince everybody that they had a massive victory when that is really in question?
Okay, and how do you analyze that question, by the way? Do they want to sit on the table?
At this moment, no. And the reason is political. And Donald Trump didn't help by making Modi look weak. If Modi had been able to sell, at least internally, this idea that India had won, maybe then he could have this narrative that I've forced Pakistan to the table, and I'll get what I want out of it. But somebody like him doesn't want to appear weak. It goes against everything he has. I mean, all his political instincts and how he's gotten and maintained power to date. So in an odd way, Donald Trump is not helping the peace process, even though he's saying he's going to negotiate it. I mean, quite frankly, India will not stand for that. They don't want that situation. They just want to declare victory and say, okay, Pakistan's come to the table, and we've made them make significant concessions, whether they actually are significant concessions or not. And going back to what this idea of Pakistan and CPAC and Afghanistan, it's time to bring them into some sort of normalcy. It is not about whether you agree or disagree with their government. It's simply about people. People in Afghanistan are suffering. If you want to take it out on the political apparatus and sacrifice the people, then you're doing exactly what Israel is doing to Gaza. They say they want to kill 20 to 30,000 Hamas terrorists, and they're willing to sacrifice all of the Palestinian people to do it. This is unconscionable. It's time when people step back and stop thinking that war is going to solve anything.
Looking ahead, what three global flashpoints do you believe the world is underestimating today?
I think, I don't know if they're underestimating it, but the issue is Modi's ego, the issue of American interference, e.g. Donald Trump making these silly claims. Water, obviously, is a huge issue. If terrorists continue to attack, this is going to be a problem because India is always going to blame it on Pakistan, despite the fact that, if you go back and you look over the last 6 months, there have been a number, over 60 people have died. Pakistanis have died in Balochistan. And yet there has only been lukewarm condemnation of it, and in some instances, none at all by India. India is insisting that everybody had to condemn the terrorist attacks, and I agree. But if you believe that all terrorism is bad, you can't sit on the sidelines and just say, well, we don't care about terrorism that's happening to them. Only terrorism that happens to us is important. I mean, there's a certain amount of hypocrisy in that. So I fear that there will be another attack by a group that wants to inflame the situation, that mismanagement on the U.S. side by Donald Trump will actually make things worse, and that if Modi feels threatened, that he will try to do something else to show that he's the strong man that he's told his people he is. Well, one last thing. The issues within Pakistan are very, very tense. And the issue there is, can Pakistan come together politically and economically and start addressing its needs? Because without that, the future does not look good.